I like trying to improve my health and physical fitness. I like working out and running. What I love to do is to is to race competitively. My favorite race is the Central Park Duathlon. It happens several times a year. Madam Toastmaster, Toastmasters and friends, today I want to share with you about how to prepare for a race and how not to prepare for a race. Before we get started, you may not know what a duathlon is. The Central Park Duathlon is composed of a 2.2 mile foot race, a 12-mile bike race, and then another 2.2 mile foot race. On the other hand, a triathlon has three different parts. The Ironman triathlon has a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike race, followed up by a 26.2 mile foot race. Since the Central Park Duathlon is a relatively short course, it attracts all types of participants. From elite athletes who use this duathlon as a prep for a longer race, to grandmas who waddle across the finish line in pride to their families in triumph. The duathlon that I want to talk about is the one that happened last year, March 24th, 2013. That duathlon is my personal example of a gigantic failure. Why? Because there was no preparation. I had allowed myself to get off track. I wasn't working out, and I allowed life to happen, and it got me off track. My winter leading up to the duathlon consisted of a full Thanksgiving, a chunky Christmas, and full hibernation from all forms of exercise. That spring, I felt fed up and out of shape. So I did what most people would do in that situation, which is sign up for a duathlon. All joking aside, I did it because I was upset at myself, because I had gotten off track and I didn't prepare. So what is prep? Prep is those days when you get up in the morning and do the work. You do the practice. Prep is when you don't see that goal ahead of you and you press forward towards it. There's no pats on the back during that time when you're prepping. Sometimes you're alone and you're by yourself. Prep requires silently attacking those goals, one step at a time, step by step. On the day of that race, I literally rolled out of the bed, 25 pounds overweight, with my bicycle and a pair of running shoes that were 2 years old and covered with paint. I waddled over to the starting line and pap, the race began. That race started at an incline, and after just several steps, I was completely out of breath. I started clutching my belly because I was catching a cramp. I had to actually slow down. I got exactly what I deserved that day because of that race, which was poor race results. During that race, I actually saw people whizzing past me like bullets in a battlefield. I felt like a wounded soldier who didn't make basic training. I said to myself, what am I doing here? I should have stayed in bed. I made a solemn promise to myself that day that I will never return back to a race like that unprepared. So over the next few months, I ate better, got better sleep, and I started to perform consistent exercise. I got up early, I raced, I actually did practice duathlons around my neighborhood. So finally, when the next race came around, I was ready. Sunday, October 13th, 2013. I showed up for the race 15 minutes early. I actually lost 10 pounds. My bike was fresh out of the shop, and I showed up with a brand new pair of running shoes. I trotted over to the starting line, and pat, the race began. I ran long and strong and finished the race ahead of schedule. I actually finished 20 minutes faster than my previous time. What did I learn? I learned that you just can't roll out of bed and be a superstar. You have to put the work in. Madam Toastmaster.